Welcome back, Stingers. 2024 is going out with a bang. In this series, I'm answering the internet's most asked questions about Scorpio. And since I am a Sun, Moon, Stellium, Pluto, Mars dominant, I think I'm pretty qualified. Are you ready? I'm ready for you. I feel like most of you who are watching this series are not Scorpios. You are like exes or about to be an ex looking for answers. Anyway, first question up. What are some examples of how Scorpios test people? So my response is coming from someone who has typical Scorpio energy. What does that mean? Water, fixed, 8th house, Pluto, Mars dominant, feminine energy. Now, many of you guys are not that type of Scorpio or are not even dating, married to, or dealing with that type of Scorpio. You guys, some of you don't even know what type you're dealing with. So you may be in a situation where you're with a fluffy person who is more air, fire dominant, or somebody who's a little more chill, earth, and you think that's the natural Scorpio response, and it's not. So just keep that in mind as I go through this. So some of the things that a typical Scorpio would do to test an individual, usually it's testing for loyalty of all kinds. Are you going to repeat what we say to you to other people? Are you going to renege on things that you say? Remember, we're a very permanent bonding sign. So what you say is law, honey. If you are, flaky and, oh, I forgot, and oh my goodness, I can't remember, and all that stuff, we're not going to trust you just right off the bat. It doesn't mean we're not going to deal with you. We may be like, okay, well, that's just how I have to deal with her. There are many people in my life, relatives included, who are very mutable air, and I deal with them in a certain way. I don't trust them. I would never rely on them. I would never put my life in their hands, ever. I would never tell them secrets. I would never open up to them or anything like that. But they're good enough for certain things. So just remember this when you're claiming Scorpio as friends or lovers or even married and dating. Some of them are in that relationship to fulfill something specific that they wanted. It doesn't mean that you're their go-to, that you're the vault to which they tell things to. And I know this because many Scorpios who are married to Leos or Virgos or whomever, I am the vault for them to tell everything to, not their friends and significant others. And I say friends. So a test usually is for that loyalty, and loyalty has lots of different branches. It's like, who are you going to tell my business to? Are you going to be there if I really needed you, and not like talk about it or throw it in my face or try and judge it and all those other things? And so a lot of these things are the basis of like that loyalty. So one of my favorite things to do, and I've done this my whole life, is to take you out in public and around other people. Because what happens is when you're in the vicinity of others, there's a lot of different energies going around. Like if we're just one-on-one, it's different. Like you're kind of aware. You're like, okay, particularly in the beginning, because you're trying to give me a certain impression of you. Like, oh my gosh, I'm like a great person and I'm truthful, and all the things that you may want to be that maybe you're not that type of person right now. Okay, but you want me to think so because you want to be friends, or you want to hire me, or whatever you want from me. You may want to sleep with me. Whatever your goal is, you're going to behave in a manner that you feel I'm going to like, or I'm going to respond positively to. So in order to break that down, because Scorpio, Pluto, and Mars is about destruction, particularly Pluto, because it's the higher octave of Mars. It's like Mars to the ultimate level, because Mars will just destroy. Mars is violent. Mars is pretty loud. If you've ever been around a true Aries, you know what I'm talking about. Pluto is a little bit quieter. Pluto is not only about destruction, but it's about regenerating. So I can not only break everything down, but I can actually rise from that and rebuild, right? And so in order to break you down, which means to break down this persona that you're presenting, I'm going to take you out in the midst of other energies. So now it's not just mine. Now it's not just my intense kind of introverted energy that you're kind of playing off like, I don't really get her yet. I don't really know what's going on yet. So I'm going to shake things up a little bit, right? And I'm going to take you around people that have so many different vibes. You kind of lose the fact that you're around me. And then you start to kind of become yourself. And yourself may be the person who's loud and energetic, who's jumping on tabletops dancing. Maybe you didn't want to show me that initially. But now that you're around other people, and the other people may be most likely your real vibe. They may be like really fiery and hype you up, like get up there, get loose. And you're like, yay. And you completely forget that you're trying to entertain me to get what you want. So now that you're around all this fire energy, your little Leo friends, Sag, right? Libras who are like, yay, right? I take a step back. So I kind of disappear in the cloud. You kind of forget that I'm even there. You're like, where did she go? Like, you're not really conscious of that yet. Later on, you're like, wait, is she still here? Right? And so you start to become who you really are amongst all those other people. And then I get to see you stripped down. So I unzip your mask, whatever it is. And those other energies have sparked in you the natural mechanism that you would behave in had you not been so aware that you're trying to get something from me, that you're trying to win me over. And so once I see that, once I've broken you down, stripped you down like Pluto would, now that I see the bases, I know where to place you. So that's one of my favorite. Another one of my favorites is because I'm a Scorpio and we rule sex, and not in the way that you think of sex. But I love to put you, particularly if you're a male, but I've done this to females as well, put you in a situation where you think that there may be some sexual attraction or sexual energy, or that you have the possibility of getting physical sex with me. And what that's going to do is really show me, number one, what your values are and what your belief systems are, and ultimately what you want from me. And when people are aroused, and I don't necessarily mean physically aroused, but mentally aroused and emotionally aroused, they start saying things that they wouldn't ordinarily say. They behave in a way they wouldn't ordinarily behave in. The act of sex puts you in a position of vulnerability in a way that you wouldn't really respond if your guard is up. And you guys know what I'm talking about. You adults. You adults. And so if you think that we're going there, you're going to do things that will get you there quicker, if that's what you want. If that is not what you want, I'll know that right off the bat. So those are just two examples of things that true Scorpios would do to test you. And I say that because if you're coming from a fire base, you're going to be more action oriented. You may just go for it and be like, oh, I want to take you home and sleep with you. That's such a fire thing. That's such a rash thing to do. That's such a thing, like, without thinking, you're just speaking. That's such fire, air, very masculine energy. Scorpio is feminine. We're receptive. This is why I wait. I wait for you. And this is why I also say that Scorpios just respond to you, because we're feminine energy. We're receptive. We don't just jump off the building and later on be like, oh my gosh, I have no parachute. That's more on the Aries spectrum of like doing without thinking, talking without thinking. So, this is why I say that that's from the truest Scorpio nature. Now, other Scorpios may have different tests for you, and it may be quite obvious if they're very rash, right? But I'm just giving you the bases. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing my videos. I'll see you at ScorpioSunScorpioMoon.com, where you can take a quiz to see what type of Scorpio you are. Then book a master chart reading where I break everything down on an astrological level. You can also purchase my course, Becoming Fabulous, buy my books, and shop my pop-up shop. Otter Spirit is being generous, giving 20% off their amazing healing crystal jewelry. I have the Scorpio pack. Use the link below for your discount and let me know in the comments which one you purchased.